it's Sam. Welcome back to another tutorial. Today we're going to be making this easy granny square fanny pack. It also includes a zipper to make it a bit more functional. For this project I'm going to be using 4 different colors of yarn as well as 1 color for the base. These are all, I believe, Lily Sugar and Cream yarn, so they are 100% cotton yarn, so weight 4 yarn. I personally really love using cotton when making bags. I just find it holds up really well and it's nice and sturdy. We're also going to need some scissors, and I have a 4.5mm crochet hook here that I'm going to use for this project. We'll also need a darning needle, and as I mentioned previously, if you want to add a zipper to this pouch, I am using a 35cm zipper in the same color as my base color. To start this tutorial, I'm going to show you guys how to make this granny square. If you're already familiar with this, then you can go ahead and skip to the assembly of the bag, but we are going to walk through this granny square first in detail. So I'm going to get started here with my center color. So I'm going to take my yarn and make a slip knot. And then I'm just going to make a chain of 4. Okay, with my chain 4, I'm going to come back to the first chain we made, insert my hook, and slip stitch these 2 together. So we've actually created a small circle here in the middle, and that's where we're going to be working all of our stitches for this round. To start this round, we have 12 double crochets. So I'm going to start up with a chain of 3, which counts as our first double crochet. Then I'm going to go with 11 more double crochet into the center space here. When I get about halfway, I like to kind of tuck down my stitches a little bit so that I have more space to come up the other side without making my stitches stretch at all. Okay, now I have my 12 double crochet all into the center. So I'm going to tug my yarn here so that I can see my first chain 3. I'm going to find the top of the chain 3, insert my hook, and close this with a slip stitch. Then I'm going to chain 1 more to fasten this off, clip my yarn, and pull this through. You can also tug on the first tail a little bit to make the center a little bit tighter. Just like that. Now I'm going to go ahead and take my second color for my granny square. Do the exact same thing to start. I'm starting with a slip knot. Now we're going to be working in between the double crochets. So we're going to go ahead and pull apart the double crochets so we can see we're going to work between the posts down here instead of underneath the V's like we usually would. So I'm going to find any place in the first row, stick my hook between 2 double crochets, pull my yarn through, and just tighten everything to fasten that yarn there. We're going to start this round with a chain of 3, which once again counts as a double crochet. So that's our first double crochet, and into the same spot we're going to put 1 more double crochet. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and go all the way around, placing 2 double crochets in between each post from the previous round. So not into the stitch once again, just in between the posts. So 1 double crochet and a second double crochet. So we're basically making clusters of 2 double crochets between these posts. So once again, find the next space between the 2 stitches, 1 double crochet and 2 double crochets. I'm going to work this all the way around until I get back to the beginning, placing 2 double crochets between each post till I get back. Now I've made it back to the beginning of the second round, so I'm going to go to the 3rd chain in the first stitch, insert my hook, slip that through, chain 1 as we did before, pull all that yarn, and fasten off, just like so. Now for the 3rd round, I'm going to start the same way with a slip knot, and we're going to be working in between those clusters of 2 double crochets this time. So you can pick any space between the 2 clusters If you pull it apart with your fingers, you can see we have a V here and a V here. So we want to work between those two V's. So I'm going to find a space between those clusters, insert my hook, secure my yarn, pull it tight. Start each round the same way with a chain 3. Then we're going to go into the same space with 2 more double crochets. So for this round, we're placing 3 double crochets in between the clusters. We have 1, 2, and 3 double crochets, since our chain 3 counts as our first double crochet. So we're going to skip over the next 2 double crochets, working between the stitches again with 3 more double crochets. So we have 1, 2, and 3. And I'm going to continue this around, just working between the 2 double crochets, skipping the next 2 here, go between with 1, 2, and 3 double crochets. Skip the next 2, go with 3 double crochets. As you can see in this round, we're getting clusters of 3 double crochets, so we're going to go ahead and do this until we get back to the beginning here. At the end of our third round, we should have 36 stitches after working all of our clusters of 3. So just as we did before for the last 2 rounds, we're going to find the top of the chain 3 from the beginning, insert our hook, slip stitch this together, and fasten off. So for round 4 is where we're going to do the shaping for this granny square. So we need to turn this circular shape into an actual square. So we're going to go ahead, take our 4th color, start with a slip knot on our hook, and pick any space between the clusters of 3 double crochets. So we have our clusters of 3, we're just going to look between them. Just between 2 clusters, we're going to insert our hook, slip stitch, and secure our yarn. For this round, we're going to do an initial chain 4 instead of a chain 3. And this first stitch counts as a treble crochet. So we're going to work this corner with treble crochets. So I'm going to yarn over twice, insert my hook, pull up a loop, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and yarn over, pull through 2. So this counts as 2 treble crochets that we have here so far. So I'm going to go with 1 more treble crochet, going into the same space. And that's our first part of the corner. So the corner is made up of 2 clusters of 3 treble crochet. So I'm going to chain 2, pull my stitches down a little bit so I have a bit more space, and then we're going to go with 3 more treble crochets into the same space. So there's 1 treble crochet, 2 treble crochets, and 3 treble crochets. And that's our first corner there. So we work the treble crochets so that we get more height in the corner, and this is going to even out the shape of the corner here. So in between the next cluster and the one after that, we're just going to work 3 double crochets. So 3 double crochets in between both of those clusters. There's 1 set, skip the next 3 stitches, work in between them with 3 more double crochet. Just like that. So this is our corner, and this is one of the sides of our squares. So we're going high in the corner, evening out in the middle, and then we're going to do another corner. So after every 2 clusters on this round, we're going to do another corner of treble crochet. So I'm going to go in with 3 treble crochet, chain 2, and do 3 more treble crochets into the same spot. Just like so. So after each corner, we're going to do 2 regular double crochet clusters and then another corner. So I'll just show you guys one more side of the square. So the next 2 spaces are clusters of 3 double crochet. So there's 1 cluster, and we go with another cluster of double crochet. And after the 2 regular clusters, we're back at a corner, so we're going to go 3 treble crochet, chain 2, 3 treble crochet in this space. So this pattern is just going to repeat until you get back to the beginning. So the next 2 are going to be regular double crochet clusters, followed by a corner, and then the last 2 are going to be double crochet clusters. Then we're going to fasten off into our chain 4 the same way we've been closing off each round. So now for the final round, I'm going to take my base color, start the same way we've started all the rounds. I usually like to start this round in a corner, so I'm just going to go to a corner, secure my yarn there. And I'm going to start with a chain 3 for this round. So we're just going to be working regular double crochets all the way around this round. So I'm going to start with a corner. Inside of the corner, go ahead and go with 3 double crochets, chain 2, and 3 more double crochet into the same space. And then we're going to place clusters of 3 between each clusters from the previous round until we get to our corners, where we're going to repeat what we've just done here. So just to show you, we're going to go with the next cluster of 3 double crochet, and work this till we get to the corner. And then we're back at our corners, so we're going to do 3 double crochet, chain 2, and 3 more double crochet. Chain 2, and 3 more double crochet. So we have one side done here. We're just going to repeat this all the way around, doing our corners in the corners from the previous round, clusters of 3 double crochet between the other clusters, and fasten off at the end the same way we've been doing. And then I'm going to go ahead and make the next 3 squares in the same way as this. So we need 4 squares for this fanny pack altogether. So now that I have all 4 of my granny squares and my ends are weaved in, we're going to start putting together the granny square bag. So this is how the bag is going to look. I'm just working on another one, but we have one in the middle, 2 squares on the side, and another one on the back. So we're going to start with this joint at the bottom, and then I like to start maybe down this way and work up this way, and then do the same thing on the other side, starting here and moving up this way. So we're going to take 2 squares here, and these are going to be the middle squares, one for either side. So we're going to attach these together like this way, but they're going to sit this way, and they're going to fold up like this. So I'm going to start here, and this is just going to be a simple slip stitch join between these 2. So I'm going to start with a slip knot on my hook, like I usually do, and then pull this in a little bit closer. We're going to be working these two together. So we're going to line these squares up, and we're going to start with the corners down here. For me, I'm always going to be working through the right side and then the left side, and then coming back through the right side and the left side, right, left, right, left. And we're going to be working in the back loops only. So I'm going to start with that. We have our chain 2 in the corner, so I'm going to start with the second chain here and count that as part of this side. So I'm going to go through the back loop, find the same spot on the other hook, go through the back loop, and I kind of want to work with my yarn pulled up through the back here. So I'm using it through the center of these two squares. So once I have that, and through both of those chains, I'm going to grab my yarn, slip stitch through the left, through the right, and through the loop on my hook. And then I'm just going to tug it here to make sure it's tight. And now we're going to be working into the stitches. So we're going to find the first stitch on the cluster of 3 and the first stitch on the cluster of 3 here. And I'm just going to take the back loop only. So we're going to go through the back loop here on this side, come through the back loop here on the corresponding stitch. And then with our yarn still coming up through the center, we're going to grab it, slip through the left, the right, and the loop on our hook. So we're going to just repeat this all the way up, making sure that your stitches are lining up on each side. So now find the second stitch here, go through the back loop only, second stitch here, back loop only, grab my yarn, slip, slip, and slip through all 3 loops on my hook. Then we're going to look at the third, going through the back loop only, back loop only on the left side here, and grab our yarn, pulling through all 3 of those loops. So you can see we're getting a nice braided look on top, which is just the slip stitch join. So I'll come a little closer and show you guys just a couple more. Come through the next cluster, back loop only, grab the yarn, pull through all the loops on the hook, back loop only, and pull through all 3. And then one more going through that third stitch in the cluster, back loop only here, and pull through all 3 loops on the hook. When you lay it flat, you end up with the braid on top, which looks like a nice finish. So that's how I like to join my squares. So I'm going to do this, and when I get to the top, I'm going to finish here in the first chain 1 of that chain 2. So we have our corner space, chain 1, chain 2. I'm going to finish in this chain here. And then when I get there, I'm just going to slip stitch and fasten off, and we can join the next piece. So just to show you, I'm going to grab the chain 1, back loop only here, first chain on this side through the back loop only, and slip through both. And then I'm just going to chain 1 more, clip my yarn, and the first side is done here. So now I'm going to turn it like this, and I'm going to grab another square. So these are going to be folded this way, and this square is going to get folded this way. So to join this, I'm just going to start here like this. Do the same thing we did before. I'm going to slip stitch up to the middle point here, and then when I get to the middle, I'm going to fold it like this. So I'll do the first part here, and then come back and show you guys the second part. So I've come halfway now. I've joined the first side of the squares. So we're pretty much going to squish these two together and crochet up this side with our slip stitch. Come here, I've done my first corner chains here, and I'm going to find my second chain here and attach it to the second chain in the corner on this opposite square, like so. Remembering to work through the back loops only. Join those two together like that. And then making sure that all of my stitches line up, I can carry on up the other side. So I'm going to keep working right through the left, grabbing the first stitch in each cluster, grab my yarn and slip stitch that together, making sure to keep my yarn coming up through the center so I can grab it easily. And then we have our chain 3, so when we get to your chain 3, just do your best to find the top of that stitch. And just keep going, like so. Just going to continue up this way. Working the same slip stitch join. All the way until I get to the top. So I just fastened off up here. You can see we've come up this side and this way, and we have this kind of weird triangle shape, but when we fold our two middle pieces together, we're going to get this side folded in half and join nicely on each side. So now we're going to take this and we're going to take our final square and join it the same way that we just joined our last square. So I'm going to go ahead and join these together, starting with the bottom here and then coming up this side here. And then that will give us the fanny pack shape. So after joining that side together, we have our general fanny pack shape here. So next, what I'm going to do is a couple of rounds of border here to help hold this together, give it a little bit of shape, and add a little length to the top. So once again, I'm just taking my hook with a slip knot on it. You can join this yarn anywhere you like. I kind of like to start off to the corner a little bit. And we're going to be working into the double crochets from the previous row. So insert it into any double crochet from the row before. Fasten your yarn, and we're going to do a chain of 3. And then we're just going to work 1 double crochet into the top of each stitch from the last round. So we are working into the front of the stitches here. This round is going to be a solid round, so we're just going to work 1 double crochet all the way around until we get back to the beginning. When we get down to our corner spaces, we're just going to place 1 double crochet into the corner space and 1 double crochet into the top of that slip stitch braid. One double crochet into the next corner, and then after the corners you can just continue as normal. And obviously in the top of the chain 3s, just 1 double crochet there as well. And 1 stitch back into the top of each double crochet. I did also just want to point out that when you get to the corners where the bag is folded, we're just going to place 1 double crochet there as well. And then we're going to kind of continue turn it by just placing our double crochets into the next stitch after that. Okay, I'm back at the beginning here, so I'm going to go with my final double crochet. And then I'm going to slip stitch into the top of my chain 3. That's what I usually do. And I'm going to work another round of double crochet without turning my work. So since all of the stitches are front facing anyways because we did granny squares, I'm just going to do this without turning my work. So it's a little bit different than working double crochets as you normally would. But we're just going to be working into the front of stitches. So we're just working 1 stitch into each stitch from the previous round. And this way all of our stitches are going to be facing the same way, so the squares and the double crochets. So I'm going to do this round, finish this, and fasten off at the end here. So with all of this done, this is what we have so far. I've weaved in all of my ends, and next we are going to begin working on the strap. So to find where I'm placing the strap, I just look for the corner stitch here, and I just find the stitch that goes directly into this corner, and I'm going to go 3 stitches to the right and 3 stitches to the left of this corner stitch, and I'm going to do these 7 stitches as my strap. So to start crocheting my strap, I'm going to start with my slip knot, and I'm going to find the first stitch in my 7 stitches, secure my yarn here, pull it tight, and without chaining anything, I'm going to work 1 single crochet into the same space, which counts as our first stitch. And then I'm just going to work 1 single crochet into each of the 7 stitches. And that's my 7th stitch. I'm just going to remove these so it's a little bit easier to see. Without chaining, I'm going to turn my work. For the strap, I do want to turn my work. But again, without chaining, I'm going to single crochet into the first stitch. And place 1 single crochet into each of the remaining 6. And then find the last stitch here and place my last single crochet. There we go. So we're just going to continue turning our work, not chaining anything. In that first stitch, we're going to work a single crochet and 6 more single crochet. So I'm going to do this until it's long enough, and I will let you know how long it is. So I've just finished up my strap. I did 140 rows of single crochet, and it's long enough so that it fits across my body, and I can wear it diagonally across my chest, which is the length that I want to wear it at anyways. I did keep in mind that it'll stretch a little bit, so it's just fitting perfectly now with that in mind. So now I have my last row here, and I've left my yarn attached because I'm going to come in here and attach this here where I've marked out my 7 stitches before on the other side. So I'm just going to sandwich these together. So this is the inside of the purse and this is the outside of the purse, and we have the strap here. And I'm actually going to come through to the inside of the bag. I'm going to come through the purse side here, like this. Take the loop that's still attached on the strap. Now to join, we're just going to work slip stitches across this way. So I'm just going to go into the next stitch, find the matching stitch on the strap, and slip stitch through that as well. Go through the next stitch, find the matching stitch on the strap, and slip stitch that as well. And I'm just going to do this till I get to the end. So reach my last stitch here. Just going to pull through my final slip stitch, chain 1 more, and cut my yarn to fasten off. And then when we flip it, we do have a nice clean finish. We have a nice clean join that matches the bag nicely. So I'm just going to weave in this tail and then head over to do the zipper. So next I'm going to take my zipper and the fanny pack, and I'm going to line this up here. So I'm going to work with the zipper unzipped. And I'm going to place the base of the zipper and match it up with the center stitch in the corner over here. So I'm going to find my 4th stitch, place the base of my zipper against this stitch, And then I'm just going to carefully line up my zipper along the top of the fanny pack. So I have my zipper all pinned around now. I'm just going to sew along this edge and then the other edge. And I decided that since the straps kind of close at the end, I will use that to cover up those end tails of the zipper. So I'm going to start sewing down along this side and then sew the other side. So I sewed down the zipper, but I'm just going to hand stitch the ends here where I couldn't quite reach with the sewing machine because I didn't have a proper zipper foot on here. So I'm just going to take matching thread and finish this up. And that is the finished fanny pack. I made one here in another color. I honestly love granny square projects and I really like to play around with different colors. Thank you guys for watching this tutorial. I hope you enjoyed this and try this bag out for yourself. If you enjoyed this tutorial, feel free to subscribe and I will catch you in the future for more crochet, sewing, and knitting tutorials. Bye!